It's a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi there, viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Douala. It's time for the news in the English language. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Mrs. Taris right away. Following the drop in moral standards of young people in Cameroon nowadays, President Paul Biya calls on the youths to have a rethink of their moral standards and re-embrace our moral values. He was addressing the young people on the eve of the National Youth Day observed today, the 11th of February. The head of state as well worry over the high rates of unemployment in the country. Critics and civil society actors, however, have been wondering aloud and asked questions while they said verbal messages from the head of state each year without concrete actions to serve as solutions. We bring to you their views in this news edition. And also in this newscast, how did the 11th of February happen in the northwest and the southwest regions? Our reporters are on standby. Viewers, those are our big stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers, and happy Youth Day to all the defiant youths out there. Thank you so much for your confidence. We just told you a while ago that youth in Cameroon today are observing the National Youth Day, and it has been marked by march past and other youth activities in different municipalities in Cameroon. The 59th edition of Cameroon's National Youth Day was commemorated in Bamenda under tight security, reflecting the tense atmosphere in most parts of the region. Despite recent security threats, including the detonation of explosives allegedly planted by separatist fighters, the event proceeded as planned, chaired by the governor of the Northwest region, Adolphe Lelelafrique. Let's now have how the 11th of February happened in Bamenda with our reporter Mbustela.
The 59th edition of Cameroon's National Youth Day was commemorated in Bamenda under heavy security, given the tense atmosphere in most parts of the region. In the days leading up to the event, security forces successfully detonated at least 2 explosives allegedly planted by separatist fighters, underscoring the fragile security situation. Despite these, celebrations went on as planned, featuring an Excellence Award, a march past by pupils and students from various schools, as well as political parties. A key highlight of the event was the replay of President Paul Biya's February 10th address to the youth. The head of state emphasized the importance of voter registration, urging young people to actively participate in shaping the country's future.
I pay attention most importantly when he encouraged young people to participate in elections. And I think this is very vital in our society today, because I think it is important for us young people to participate in elections, to choose our leaders in the country.
The issue of job creation was also a major talking point.
As we stand now, we are about to do a recycling plan, which is not a formal civil service job. And I want to assure you that this speech is directly in line with the action plan in Bamenda 2 Council, because with this plan, we are going to regenerate energy, and then we're going to help into local industrialization.
Governor Adolphe Lelelafrique, who presided over the event, urged young people to take advantage of the various opportunities available to them.
They should use the digital world positively to build up long-lasting peace, fighting against hate speech, and they should not be taken astray by those who are trying to use the digital world against the morality of our society.
Despite the security concerns, the 59th Youth Day in Bamenda unfolded in an atmosphere that reflects the typical challenges young people face daily as the armed conflict is prolonged.
Meantime, youths in Cameroon have been called upon to prioritize self-employment and make use of opportunities in agriculture and also the digital sector. This is part of the message of President Paul Biya to Cameroonian youth on the occasion of the 59th National Youth Day. The President, in his message, announced the provision of 10,000 jobs in the conservation sector as well. For me, Armstrong Sanda has the details of President Paul Biya's message to Cameroonian youth that was on the eve of the 11th of February.
Beyond popular expectation, President Paul Biya began his 15 minutes 27 seconds message to the youth by celebrating the qualification of the indomitable Lions for AFCON Morocco 2025.
I would like to sincerely congratulate our brave indomitable Lions and their managers.
Recognizing the discontentment of young jobless Cameroonians, the president urged the young people not to heed to other narratives but to always trust him for the truth. Part of the truth, according to him, is that Cameroon is getting better in the professionalization of education.
I have also instructed the government to involve as many young people as possible in preserving the environment and combating climate change. Such is the objective of the ongoing Green Jobs Promotion Program. It will ultimately help to create over 10,000 jobs through income-generating activities in areas such as sanitation, waste recycling, and organic farming.
He says the search for greener pasture is risky and youth should stay and make use of the opportunities in Cameroon.
Others, in desperation, choose the perilous and devious route of illegal immigration with often tragic outcomes, as we are aware. And yet, as you know, paid employment is not the only means to enter the labor market. Other avenues exist. Once again, I urge you to explore opportunities in sectors such as agriculture and livestock farming. You should draw inspiration from the success stories of Samuel Troy Obambikoe, who has established an agro-industry, or the young Tata Bakari, who now runs a large farming complex.
Besides agriculture, the president encouraged young Cameroonians to gainfully get occupied on the digital space. A shout out to bloggers, influencers, web developers, and online marketers. Regarding the upcoming presidential election, President Paul Biya urged young people to give a deaf ear to people seeking to destabilize Cameroon.
Kamto of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party condemns government's repeated use of force on those who try to demand that their rights be respected. According to him, the violence that occurred in Koteng in the Central region on February 4 could be avoided if the government had opted for dialogue. Immaculate Fogwe reports on the outing of Professor Maurice Kamto.
The workers' strike action that turned violent and deadly in Koteng in the Central region of Cameroon has not left Professor Maurice Kamto of the CRM party indifferent. The national president of the CRM party says the incident has once again exposed government's inability to dialogue. He says this has again proven to the Cameroon people that the CPDM government prefers violence in handling issues in Cameroon. In the message addressing the 4th of February incident, the CRM president alleges that an unspecified number of people died with enormous material damage caused to the companies Susukam and its workers in Koteng and Banjok respectively. Expressing his condolences to victims and sympathy to the striking workers, the CRM national president outrightly condemned the use of force. Professor Maurice Kamto says that an enterprise managed by qualified personnel, social dialogue remains a sign of strength. He goes further to say that employers who love their enterprises and respect their workers do not seek military intervention against their workers. To him, when this is done, it portrays signs of incompetence. He concludes by calling on workers of Susukam to be calm, not to heed to provocation, and desist from any temptation of vandalizing company structures. According to a release from the governor of the Central Region, Nasiri Polbia, a worker of Susukam died, 11 persons injured, with 150 hectares of sugarcane plantation burnt in the course of the violent incident that occurred on February 4th.
Talk insecurity, a case of kidnapping and murder which was uncovered near Fumbot, a joint effort by security forces in the northwest and west regions led to the arrest of 3 suspects in connection with the gruesome kidnap and killing of Kadiri Sali, a 45-year-old man who was abducted. That was last month. His body was found in an advanced state of decomposition in the mountains of Nkufer. Mbustela has more from Bamenda.
It started as a kidnapping for ransom. Kadiri Sali was abducted on January 18th in Fumbot in the west region of Cameroon. His family paid 800,000 francs CFA to secure his release, but after the payment, the kidnappers went silent. Days later, an extensive investigation led security forces to Benakuma in the northwest region, where the first suspect was arrested.
We finally arrested Ibrahim Abdullahi in Womb, and then we had to take him right to Fumbot, where we arrested his friend, Usmanu Yakubu.
On February 9th, Usmanu Yakubu, the suspected gang leader, was arrested in Fumbot. He later led the officers to the crime scene, where forensic experts and legal authorities confirmed the identity of the victim and the circumstances leading to his death.
After collecting ransom, they decided to hang this suspect, this victim. The head was hung with a rope and tied to a tree, and each of the legs were equally hung with ropes and tied to other trees. His hands were tied behind him, and the body was suspended. And it is in this state that they observed him agonize until he finally gave up the ghost.
As investigations continue, authorities are calling on the public to provide any information that could lead to the arrest of other accomplices still on the run.
My appeal is that the population should collaborate, because it is thanks to the collaboration of the population that we have been able to use less than 4 days to bring this gang to book.
The 2 suspects, identified as Ibrahim Abdullahi and Usmanu Yakubu, have been brought before the law as the authorities tighten efforts to dismantle kidnapping networks across the region.
Still on insecurity, the phenomenon persists in the Adamawa and the northern regions of Cameroon, where terrorist attacks have multiplied in the past years, and in a way to end this, an operation was recently launched by the 31st Infantry Motorized Brigade, which led to the seizure of at least 40 firearms and other weapons from the gunmen. Details with Mara Glory.
It is the seizure of about 40 war guns, chains and telephone from terrorist groups along Cameroon's border with Chad, Central African Republic and Nigeria. The operation carried out by the 31st Infantry Motorized Brigade was led by Colonel Fomundam Chumroje, who said this is following the numerous threats around the borders.
We are more than ever determined to continue to fight so that our area of responsibility should remain calm. We cannot do this all alone. We are going to count on the synergy and the collaboration of other defense and security forces, of the administrative authorities, the vigilante groups, not forgetting the population.
This group of persons he listed above aided in the seizure of the arms. The operation was launched in the Adamawa and the north due to the rising insecurity in these regions. An action which, according to the military officers, will intensify this year, 2025.
We are going to organize a lot of operations, especially around the border areas where you have a lot of hideouts of these criminal groups. I want to assure the population within the area of Ngaoundéré and Garoua.
A promise that brings hope to the population who are anxiously waiting for its realization.
And the educational community renews its tradition of mass attendance at the Douala Naval Base that was prior to today's activities, the 11th of February. Schools have been converging on the site to discover its attractions and have other workshops that was at the Douala Naval Base, as Cedric Chakutio tells us in the report. This comes up next.
The educational community renews its tradition of mass attendance at the Douala Naval Base prior to the celebration of the Youth Day. Since Friday, schools have been converging on the site to discover its exhibitions, attractions, and workshops.
On the occasion of the Youth Day, we decided to pay a visit at the Marine Base here in Douala for them to discover, learn. They went to the workshops, see how the marine works.
The majority of the workshops visited by the pupils are specialized bodies of the Douala Naval Base. They also assisted at different workshops presented to them, such as the technical structures for naval maintenance and upkeep, whose role is to ensure that the operational system is available to ensure the various operations entrusted by the hierarchy. As for the language laboratory, the pupils discovered the importance of the English language and the alphabet.
Eyes. My eyes are blue. Eyelashes. Her eyelashes are thick.
They were also taught what to do and how to react when they are found in front of flames. To the pupils, we just presented the small means that we use for training and to fight against disasters on board ships and on the native and on the Navy buildings on land.
Les gestes utiles, premièrement, c'est comme vous l'avez vu, c'est d'abord la prévention. Prévenir vaut mieux que guérir.
Prevention is better than cure. We will not know how to intervene and get into difficulties. The first gesture is first to protect ourselves. Once done, you have to know how to use the prevention equipment.
Intervention telle que vous avez vu tout à l'heure. Vous avez vu que c'est la réalité. Eux-mêmes, ils ont essayé d'éteindre les feux.
You saw it by yourself. They tried to put out the fire and loved the exercise. An important discovery to some of the pupils.
I am very happy to come in this excursion of the Base Naval. I saw many ships in this campus. I am very happy to come here.
To these children, visiting the Douala Naval Base was inspiring and educative.
I will take you to Geneva, Switzerland, where the 156th session of the World Health Organization Executive Council is going on. Africa, in collaboration with the international community, aims to mitigate the impact of chemicals on global health. This is one of the key issues being discussed in the session, which was on February 3 in Geneva. The meeting features the participation of Cameroon's Public Health Minister, Dr. Manawuda Malachi. Lucy Liengu is here with details.
The impacts of chemicals, waste, and pollution on human health poses a significant global challenge, as highlighted in point 20 of the 156th Executive Council of the World Health Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. In 2019 alone, over 2 million people died worldwide due to chemical exposure, underscoring the urgency of this problem.
Ce sont des sujets majeurs qui impactent, n'est-ce pas, la vie au quotidien.
There are health issues affecting the living conditions of the population. On behalf of Africa, we raise our voices, particularly regarding the problem of poor nutrition. In reality, we must invest in infants, adolescents, and women.
In response to these challenges, Dr. Manawuda Malachi, the third vice president of the council, has conducted an assessment focused on Africa, particularly Cameroon.
Measures are on the way to tackle health issues affecting Cameroon and the world. We aim to reduce the high number of patients in hospitals and provide adequate treatment.
This session not only addresses these present health concerns, but also allows Cameroon to share its experiences with traditional medicine and learn from nations like India and China.
Given Cameroon's experience with traditional medicine, which has been supported by a law adopted and promulgated by the President of the Republic, we recognize that China is more advanced in this area. Their experience highlights the need to integrate traditional medicine into public health to enhance our goals for universal health coverage.
universelle.
The session, which began on February 3rd, ends on February 11, 2025, under the leadership of the World Health Organization Director General.
In news out of Cameroon, the United Nations has called for the immediate release of former Niger leader Mohamed Bazoum, who was chased from power. That was after a coup in July 2023. Let's have more with Cedric Chakutio.
The reopening of schools in Goma this Monday lacked its usual atmosphere, with many schools eerily empty. While a handful of students attempted to return to class, the majority stayed home, unable to shake the fear and uncertainty surrounding the region.
We came to study, but we realized there aren't enough students because they're scared. Everyone is afraid.
Despite a call from the M23 rebels for schools to resume normal operations, the situation remains fraught with uncertainty. In the schoolyards, silence replaced the usual sounds of laughter and chatter. Desks sit empty, and teachers are left with little to do as only a few students have returned. Elsewhere, the United Nations Working Group in Arbitrary Detention called for the immediate release of Mohamed Bazoum and his wife Adiza on Monday, February 10th. Bazoum was overthrown in a coup in July 2023. Him and his wife have been cut off from all outside contact. They have been detained for a year and a half in a wing of the presidential residence in Niamey. Only his doctor was allowed to visit him. The UN expert statement is not new. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has previously demanded Bazoum's release. He even called for his reinstatement as head of state after his arbitrary detention on July 26, 2023. Bazoum's lawyers quickly reacted in a statement, stressing that their client and his wife have been completely cut off from the outside world since October 2023. They have had no contact with family, friends, or legal counsel.
That report by Cedric brings us to the end of the first part of the news, viewers. Let's move on to talking points. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is Ndumu Vincent. He is an educationist and also one of the administrators of Atlanta School in Douala. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting to talk to us on Equinoxe Television tonight. Now, President Paul Biya, in his address to the youths that was on the eve of the Youth Day, on the eve of today, spoke on the need for youths to have a rethink of their moral standards or values. You are an educationist. What did you make of the head of state's message on moral rectitude? Do you, like others, think there is a cause for concern at the moment in relation to the morals of youths nowadays?
All right. Thank you, Madam, for coming. And we are pleased having you today in our area of jurisdiction, that is Bonaberi 4 area. I want to start by saying that the Youth Week celebration started so well with us around Bonaberi here in most of the schools. I want equally to say that our challenges that we are having here as far as youths are concerned, as an educationist, issue of this moral decadence that is gradually warping into the life of many of our schools around the Republic. I remember that education is a three-pillar foundation, that is the parent, the school, and the children themselves. And you realize that most of our parents, as I want to always say it, they are one of the main causes of this moral degradation in school, because they have actually abandoned their own part of the way children need to be brought up. Maybe knowingly or unknowingly, it could be because of their work commitment and other aspects that we may not be aware of it. Another aspect too can come equally from the children, with a great exposure to what we call these multimedia and social vices, which maybe they are not actually guided on how they can go about it. So most of the either use it wrongly, and it doesn't give them a good picture as far as educational following is concerned.
Mr. Ndumu, it is no news to anyone that good morals are gradually fading away if nothing is done by all those concerned, the schools, the teachers, and above all, parents of the society. What, according to you, can be reasons for this sharp drop in moral standards of youth nowadays, most of them students who are in your care?
From the way our curriculum is built, I really see that there are some lapses that give children a lot of freedom. When I say freedom, I mean freedom in the aspect of discipline, because sometimes we build curriculum and let the children understand that there are certain punishment that we shouldn't give them. So I see that that's the way society contributes one way or the other. Then actually we come back to the township and the rural areas. If you look at the type of indiscipline in the rural areas, it's quite different from those of the urban areas. I take point in question Douala 4 here, Douala 5, and even Douala 2 area. You discover that there are a lot of what we call social ills among students. Areas of prostitution is among them. Areas of maybe insolence to teachers. Then irregularities in schools, where the children do not actually follow up the rules and regulations set by the school. And then somewhere along the line, we are limited by our own ways. And one thing I want to say, madam, is that the school is not a reformation center. These are where we get a lot of mix-up. The school, we just perform our work of trying to pass our information, which is that of trying to bring the children up to study and again to be morally upright. But sometimes when the children have been taken to a certain area where they are wayward, the school is not an environment for them to be corrected.
And now, sir, in his message to the youths, President Probia, just like in other years, spoke of unemployment among the young people, which happens to be a major worry. Now, isn't it time our educational system be revised or reviewed? Don't you think it's now imperative we move from theory to practice so youths can be self-employed?
Thank you for that question. If you did not ask that question, I would have assumed that our interview is not balanced. Because we are talking about the youth, and we know one of their greatest problems nowadays is the issue of unemployment. You see, our educational system is still colonial. As I used to watch one of your panelists always say in your TV channel there, our educational system is still colonial. We should be able to reform our education in such a way that it should be that of job creation, not job seeking. But however, here, since a comprehensive school, we already see and make a big difference, where those who are actually going through the technical section are actually involved into what we call professionalism. Mean that if I would have showed you down there, you would have seen what the students here have created, what they have produced. We used to go and sew rope, this rope outside for 25,000. But I'm telling you that I gave 100,000 for the students to do what we call their practical for what we call workshop opening. What they have created 10 of those ropes from our own main school here. That is to tell you that they are already creating jobs and they can already be able to be employed by their own. So I want to say that the government should only encourage and try to go through to see that those who prove running technical education should actually be up to the task of running and providing quality.
Before we go, Mr. Ndumu Ruben, today is the 11th of February. It is a day dedicated to the young people in Cameroon. They are watching us right now. They're watching you. You are a father. You're an educationist. At the time, most of them think that a shortcut to success is always the easy path. What can you tell them today?
One thing I want to say here is that the young of today should turn to be patient, they should be steady, they should be focused, and they should be having what we call future-oriented career, which means that they should actually focus on the career they want to do. And by doing that, it means that our children nowadays should avoid distraction, because their greatest problem is that of distraction, trying to run more than they can fit or they can fend. I will equally want to add the aspect that the children should equally seek advice, counseling. Where they have difficulties, they should not stay without getting the right answer and knowing who to approach when those aspects are concerned. But however, in the aspect of our school here, there are avenues which our children can always go to if they have difficulties in maybe choosing a career and whatsoever they can do. Then apart from that, they should use their time sustainably, meaning that they should have time. I'm not saying that children should focus on the study. No, they should be able to have a good, sustainable timetable, study timetable, where they can be able to create time for study, create time to sleep, and then create time for relaxation. If they combine these three elements, they will make a better Cameroonians of tomorrow, Cameroonian leaders of tomorrow. And they should equally know that the states and the society count a lot on them. The future of this country and the level of progress and development here depends on the kind of youth we are going to produce. So they should not think that they are left back. They just stay focused, and I think at the end of it, they will push this nation ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Ndumu Ruben, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. You are an educationist and also one of the administrators of Atlanta. Thank you again for your time, sir. Viewers, thank you so much for always being with us. That was what we put together for you this evening on the news in the English language. Don't go away, our programs continue. The news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now, and see you again tomorrow, same time, God willing. Once again, happy Youth Day to all the valiant youths out there.